Welcome back to EtherLink AI Insights, the podcast where we explore the intersection of artificial intelligence, strategy, and human transformation. I'm Alex, and today we're diving into something that sounds almost too good to be true. An AI leadership retreat in Finnish Lapland that promises to actually move the needle on organizational transformation. Sam, we're talking about nature, wilderness, and somehow executive AI strategy. How does that even work?
It's a fascinating convergence, Alex, and before anyone dismisses this as corporate wellness theater, the research backs it up. There's a real gap in how enterprises approach AI leadership right now. McKinsey's data shows 88% of organizations have adopted generative AI, but only 23% are seeing measurable value at scale. That's not a technology problem, that's a leadership and governance problem, and traditional boardroom training just isn't cutting it.
So you're saying it's not about learning more AI concepts in a conference room?
Exactly. The BCG research reveals that 67% of executives already feel their organizations lack the AI capability to compete by 2026. But here's the thing, it's not knowledge gaps. Leaders know about AI. What they're missing is the ability to make strategic decisions in a human-AI collaboration framework, build governance that actually works across the EU AI Act, and align their entire organization around AI as a core operating principle. That requires a different kind of learning environment entirely.
Which is where Finnish Lapland comes in, I assume? Let me guess. It's about getting away from Slack notifications and actually thinking?
That's part of it, but it's more deliberate than just a retreat. Attention restoration theory shows that immersion in natural environments can actually increase creative problem-solving by up to 50% and reduce cognitive load. Finnish Lapland, with its midnight sun and pristine wilderness, creates optimal conditions for what researchers call a cognitive reset. Your brain isn't fighting operational fires. It's in a state where genuine strategic thinking becomes possible.
Okay, I'm intrigued. So walk me through what this Ether Travel AI Vision Quest actually looks like over the week. What's the real structure here?
It's not passive. This is a hands-on, 7-day intensive where each executive actually builds their own functioning AI agent from scratch. Days 1 and 2 focus on foundations and governance. You're mapping EU AI Act compliance, understanding risk frameworks, and auditing your organization's actual readiness. This isn't theoretical, it's directly tied to what you'll implement back home.
They're actually building an AI agent like coding?
Not necessarily traditional coding, it's more sophisticated than that. Participants develop what they call a golden prompt stack. Think of it as the high-leverage prompts that drive your organization's actual decision-making. Each person works with a personal AI mentor to move from abstract strategy to executable agent architecture. By days 3 and 4, you're in the technical build phase. Days 5 and 6 layer in organizational alignment and cross-functional strategy work.
So by day 7, you're leaving with an actual artifact, a functioning AI agent that your team can use back at the office?
Precisely, and more importantly, you've experienced human-AI collaboration firsthand. You've built something. You've grappled with governance questions in real time. You understand how to embed AI agents into core workflows because you've done it, not just read about it. That experiential learning is what closes the gap between adoption and impact.
I want to zoom out for a second. We hear a lot about executive AI training and leadership development programs. What makes this model fundamentally different beyond just the location?
The location is actually essential, not incidental. Most corporate learning happens in sterile conference centers where your brain is still half managing your calendar. Here, you're physically removed from that context. But more importantly, the pedagogy is outcomes-focused. You're not learning about AI governance, you're designing governance frameworks that you'll actually implement. You're not learning about human-AI collaboration. You're doing it with your mentor and your cohort.
And the cohort aspect, is that part of the design? You're there with other executives?
Absolutely. Cross-functional alignment is one of the 5 core outcomes. You're there with peers facing similar challenges, often from different industries. That creates space for honest conversations about what works and what doesn't. In a traditional conference setting, those conversations happen in hallways. Here, they're structurally embedded into the learning design. You're working through organizational AI strategy with people who get it immediately because they're living it too.
Let's talk practically for a moment. An executive taking a week away for this, what should they be prepared to do when they return? What's the implementation expectation?
That's where the mentorship structure matters. Each participant doesn't just leave with an AI agent. They leave with a personal mentor relationship and a 90-day implementation roadmap. You're returning to your organization with clarity on your governance framework, a functioning agent you've built, and structured support to scale that across departments. It's not, here's your certificate, good luck. It's an active partnership through the first critical scaling phase.
So the transformation doesn't end when you fly out of Finland?
Not at all. That's the critical difference from traditional retreats. The wilderness immersion and strategic clarity you gain in Lapland is the beginning. The real work is embedding those insights into your organization's operating model, compliance framework, and AI strategy. The post-retreat mentorship ensures you're not trying to translate an experience into action on your own. You have expert guidance through that transition.
Given the EU AI Act compliance component you mentioned, I imagine that's particularly relevant for European executives, but maybe for anyone operating in European markets?
Exactly right. If you're touching EU markets or have EU operations, understanding the AI Act isn't optional. It's existential. And frankly, most executives are struggling with the practical implications. This retreat allows you to build a governance framework that's actually compliant, not just aspirational. You're learning the regulatory landscape in context of how your organization will actually operate.
Before we wrap, let me ask the skeptical question everyone's thinking. Isn't this just expensive corporate wellness? Why not just hire better consultants?
Because consultants tell you what to do. This teaches you why and forces you to reason through it yourself. The research is clear that experiential learning, especially in environments that reduce cognitive load, drives retention and behavioral change far more effectively than advisory relationships. Plus, you're not paying for consultants to solve your problem. You're building the capability in-house, with your team. That's a fundamentally different value proposition.
And the deadline for 2026, we keep hearing that number as this inflection point for AI capability in enterprises. Does this retreat directly address that?
It absolutely does. The leadership challenge isn't whether to deploy AI. Adoption is already happening. The challenge is governance, integration, and scaling at the speed the market demands. If 67% of executives feel their organizations will be behind by 2026, waiting another year or two for traditional learning is a risk. This retreat compresses that learning cycle and gives you a functioning model to deploy immediately.
Sam, this has been really illuminating. For our listeners who are intrigued and want to dive deeper into how the AI Vision Quest works, what the governance frameworks look like, and how to actually apply this back in your organization, head over to etherlink.ai. We've got the full article with all the details, research references, and information on how to register for an upcoming session. Sam, thanks for breaking this down with such clarity.
Thanks, Alex. It's a genuinely innovative approach to a real problem. The intersection of nature-based learning and AI strategy might sound unconventional, but the outcomes speak for themselves. Definitely worth exploring if you're serious about closing that gap between adoption and impact.
That's all for this episode of EtherLink AI Insights. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.